Bax, self-confidence, get ready with me, take 2. Hello and happy Women's Month. Yes, we are in March, and it's not Women's Month, it's International Women's Month. So happy International Women's Month to you, madam, if you are a woman watching this. If you're a guy, just here for the vibes. What's up? nice to meet you, sir. JK, guys, I'm so silly. Anyway, child, in today's video, in today's chit chat, get ready with me, we're going to be chatting a little bit about self-consciousness, because when I was growing up, that was something that I found hampered my confidence a lot. But during the years and in my journey of finding my full confidence in myself and accepting who I am, I learned 5 very simple and sometimes overlooked tricks to kind of minimize that self-consciousness, so that regardless of who you're meeting, you're able to be present and in the moment and engage with people in a meaningful way. So with that said, if this is a video that you are interested in, please make sure that you give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the makeup room. Very quick disclaimer, if you're new to this channel, I have some very questionable methods and tools that I use during my makeup process. So if you see something shady, if you see something scary, just smile and wave. So step 1, I always start off with a primer, and I'm currently loving this one from Maybelline. It's called Baby Skin. A fly in my video. I don't believe it. Oh my word, get out. I'm literally filming. You can come back another day. I think I got it out, but I'm not too sure. Anyway, so to prime my face, I'm using the Maybelline primer, but I think to prime this fly, Nkosiam, are you jealous of me? Be honest. I think the best place for us to start with this conversation is just to define what self-confidence is and what self-consciousness is. So for me, I think that self-confidence is almost like the attitude that you have about, I don't want to say your self-worth, but maybe your skills and who you are as a person. So for me, I would describe someone who is self-confident as someone who has fully accepted who they are, trusts themselves, and trusts their abilities. And I say this all the time, that for me at least, a measure that I use for gauging whether or not there are things that I need to work on is how my confidence in myself changes when someone else walks in the room. So I think a very important part about confidence is it can't be based on if you are the best person in the room or not. Because what that means is when I'm in a room where I don't feel like I'm the most qualified person, and I'm in a room where I don't feel like I'm the best dressed person, then my confidence kind of fades away. So it really has to be an acceptance of who you are, because that means that regardless of who walks in or walks out of the door, you always remain and maintain the same level of self-worth and the same level of self-respect. Because also it's just problematic to have your confidence based on the putting down of other people around you, because then that's arrogance. So that's the difference between confidence and arrogance, in my opinion at least. Confidence is based on a full acceptance of who I am, and arrogance is based on how I feel I fare in comparison to everybody else who's in the room with me. So for step 2, the very questionable methods, I use this, let me hide my eyes, this red lipstick. It doesn't have a name, because if I'm being honest, I bought it at Marabastad when I was in the first year. So yes, very scary. I don't know why I was buying lipstick at Marabastad. Guys, don't judge me. You know, when you're a student, you just do things that don't make sense because you're desperate. You're desperate for beauty, and you're willing to do it at the lowest price possible, even if it means potentially messing up your skin and your face. So I'm just gonna take this, and I usually just put it here on my cheeks, just like that. And this is what acts like a blush underneath my foundation. So I can go in as hard as I want, because I'm still going to put foundation on top of it, and I'm still going to put concealer on top of the foundation. So we cool. As with every conversation, I think this one has its nuances in that, yes, of course, sometimes you're going to walk into a room where you don't feel like you are good enough to be in the room. You don't feel like you are ready or well prepared for that atmosphere or the conversations that you're going to have with the people around you. Because I know for me, especially with my very first YouTube event, I was so nervous because I was like, I don't know, what am I going to say? Like, these are famous people that I see all the time on YouTube. Like, how do I act once I meet them? Do I tell them how much I love them? Do I fangirl, or am I supposed to play it cool and just act like, they're human beings just like me? Well, which they are. I mean, they are human beings just like me, but like, these are people you admire. These are people that you look up to. So there is a sense of like nervousness, especially when you're in a room that's surrounded by a lot of greatness. So I think it's just a matter of being able to find the balance between I'm nervous because I'm excited to be in a room amongst such awesome people, but at the same time being confident in, okay, but I'm prepared. I edit my stuff well. I also put out quality content. And so the fact that I'm in this room with these people means something. It means that I'm good enough, and it means that I should be here. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here if I wasn't qualified to be here. Do you get what I mean? I'm going to use my foundation now. I use the Superstay Maybelline foundation in the shade 66, which is hazelnut. So I think another way that you can define confidence is almost like being clear-headed and being level-headed about everything. For me though, I think one of the ways that I've kind of mastered the ability, not you saying you mastered the ability, child, not mastered the ability, but have control. One of the ways that I've gotten control is literally by eliminating self-consciousness in the smallest ways that I possibly can. I don't know if you know, there's this quote, I forgot it, but we were reading this book when I was in grade 8. It was called Bula Means Rain by, I almost said Chinua Achebe. I definitely know that's the author of Things Fall Apart. What am I saying right now? So the book follows the story of a child with albinism and basically is an outcast in his community. And all of the time, through all of the bullying and all of the different challenges that he faces in his life, he keeps on saying the prayer of serenity, like, God grant me the ability to accept the things that I cannot change and the serenity to something. So I don't know, child. Grade 8 was many years ago. But I think you get the gist of what I'm trying to say, that God would help him to be able to accept the things that he can't change. But throughout the story, we see the character change the things that he has control over. And I think when it comes to confidence, one of the things that I have control over is the degree of my self-consciousness and how much I allow it to rule my thoughts and to rule my mind. Because I think the most distracting thing in the world is when you're speaking to people and you're trying to connect with people, or you're trying to network, or you're doing whatever it is that requires you to have confidence, and you're constantly thinking like, what do they think of me? Do they think I'm being too loud? Do they think that I'm stupid? Do they think that the things that I'm saying and that are coming out of my mouth are good enough? And these are the thoughts that we fight all of the time. And what I realized is it doesn't matter who you are, because something that Mrs. Oshel, why do I always want to call her Oshel Obama? That doesn't make sense. But one of the things that Mrs. Michelle Obama always says in like her interviews and in her books and stuff is that the feeling of anxiety and nervousness when you have to do something important or speak to important people never goes away. And even during her time as the first lady, the first black first lady of the United States, she constantly was battling with thoughts of self-doubt and thoughts of just self-consciousness. And so this is very basic, but one of the biggest things that helped me was my toiletries. I know it sounds so random, but my toiletries helped me. I need to focus for this one. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I contour with an eyebrow pencil. I know people always like ask me like, how do you contour with an eyebrow pencil? That doesn't make sense. Why is that something you do? Girl, I can't explain it. I don't know why it's something I do. All I know is that it's effective and it works. I do have a darker concealer. I just forgot to conceal my face. This fly! If I catch you, Sana, it's over. It's over for you. I do have concealers. Here are my concealers. So this one is for contouring and this one is for highlighting. Yes, ma'am. Anyway, child. So toiletries. I know it sounds so basic, but I'm telling you, there is no better feeling than feeling clean. Like when I know that I've bathed well, and when you use a soap, because I don't know if you've noticed, but like when you're bathing or showering, whatever it is that you prefer, I just call it both bathing, but yeah, it's not all bathing. But I don't know if you've noticed though, is that some soaps and some shower gels don't feel like they clean you. Like there's some where you can feel, no man, this thing just smells nice, but it's not actually cleaning my body. Do you get what I mean? And so I think through trial and error, it's important that you get toiletries that work for you and toiletries that make you feel like you are clean and fresh all the time. I know for some of my friends, which is also something that I want to start doing because I didn't even think of it. I was like, that is so cool. I've got hot sauce in my bag, guys, all of the time. If I can show you just in my room alone, I've got one of these in my bedroom and I've got one in my handbag, and I literally carry it around with me everywhere that I go. So the one in my handbag, obviously my handbag lives in my car, so it's always in my car, and then it's always with me everywhere that I go. But I've got friends that have got like deodorant, like antiperspirant sprays everywhere. They've got one in their bag, they've got one in the car, in the cubby hole. They've got a lot just planted everywhere, so that throughout the day they just keep on refreshing their, you understand? So that they always smell fresh and they always smell good. And to me, like, I thought that thing is only used like after you shower. Like after I shower, use antiperspirant and then you're good to go. But she was like, nah, you apply this thing all throughout the day and it just helps her smell really good all of the time. So I was like, oh, that's very interesting. I thought like, because when I was in high school, I used to do the most ridiculous thing, and I used to shower 3 times a day. So literally I would shower in the morning before I left to go like hang out with my friends. This is June holidays, obviously. Hang out with my friends, would be playing outside. Midday when I feel hot, I'd run back home, shower again, and then go back outside and play with my friends, because I never wanted to smell like my powers during the people. And so that was one thing that really contributed to my self-consciousness, is that I'm a girl of very powerful armpits. And so I'll put some of the products that I use over here, and hopefully I remember to put it in the description box as well, that have helped me in terms of minimizing my armpits. Literally all the girls in my family, except my sister, funny enough, have very, very powerful armpits. It doesn't make sense. I don't know why we have powerful armpits, but we just do. And so like in high school, my mom and I struggled so much through trial and error to find a roll-on that could work for me, because for most roll-ons, if I put it on, like within an hour, within an hour or something, like I'm down bed again. I'm smelling like the acha that I'm obsessed with. So also, like, guys, is it true that acha really makes your armpit smell? I'm not sure if that's true. Like, I'm not sure how true that is. If someone has done like a scientific research report on it, please share in the comments, because I would love to see scientific proof. So yeah, just small things like that, like always smelling fresh, always smelling clean, knowing that I'm clean, knowing that my breath is clean, knowing that my teeth are clean, because I've used products that I trust and products that I know will whiten up the smile, or keep my skin oil-free / acne-free / all that kinds of stuff. And I mean, having acne-free skin is not a real thing. I don't think that actually exists in real life. And most of the people that I know that have very like baby clear skin are on some sort of medication or contraceptive to like kind of, balance out the hormones and stuff. So I think just naturally you will have pimples. I literally, like, I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, my skin is not like the clearest. Every now and then I break out. In fact, I have rash on most days on my face. So it's just one of those things that you have to learn to accept about yourself. But also, if you find the correct toiletries. So like for me, in terms of like the stuff that I use to wash my face, that changes from season to season. So in winter time, the skincare products that I use are not the same as the skincare products that I use in the summer. Just because in summer I tend to have like a very bad breakout. If you go on my channel, there's a vlog called My First Radio Interview, something like that. You will see the acne that was on my face during that vlog. It was bad. So I wasn't wearing makeup for most of that month. I think this was February last year, the beginning of February last year. I wasn't wearing makeup for most of the month because I was trying to figure out like what in the world is going on with this breakout. Why is it happening? And then I figured out that no, man, I'm just supposed to change my skincare routine in the summertime and change my skincare routine in the winter to fit the season, because I don't know what the hormones. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor. All I know is my skin changes from season to season and my products need to reflect that. And literally when I changed my skin products, by the end of February, like, my skin was clear again. So when you see the vlog that I didn't release, of me during orientation week at Vega, you'll see that my skin was a whole lot better, a whole lot clearer, to the degree that I wasn't even wearing makeup to campus. I was just like going like that because it was just vibes. Not that makeup anyway will hide your acne, because yeah, I think makeup is just a thing of like elevation. Get that one, like, yes, you're beautiful, but the makeup takes you higher, child. It just takes you to a new level. So yeah, so that was number one for me, toiletries. The second thing, very close to toiletries, is perfume. And I don't know about you, but I used to be so obsessed with natural sciences when I was in high school. And I remember in one of the classes, the teacher taught us about pheromones and how pheromones work and how like animals use their scent to like attract people, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I wonder if the same way that like scent has an effect on animals and their associations and abilities to make friends or make mates and stuff like that, can I use different perfume scents to achieve different kinds of moods or vibes when people meet me? And lo and behold, I did my research, and you definitely can. There are many different kinds of perfumes that you can use for different kinds of occasions and feelings and emotions that you want to evoke in other people around you. I know. I know. I was a little crazy. This was like grade 9. And the ones that I can remember had to do with like romance. So like, I'm like, I don't actually really know. Because you know, when you're in high school, you just want all the boys to like you. So I knew all of the scents that make people attracted to you, or that men generally are attracted to in females. And we're not going to get into that. But you can definitely do research on it and then figure out what scent does what, and then find that scent in perfumes in store, which is like a real possible thing. And then yeah, that's like your vibe. So if you want to be the cool, outgoing, fun girl, and when you meet people, that's what you want people to remember you as, then just use a perfume that matches that, and people will just have that vibe about you. If you want to be dark and mysterious, use a perfume that reflects that, and people will remember that about you. So yeah, that's just me. So I currently wear 2 perfumes. I've got 2 perfumes for my 2 moods, the serious Barbara and the play Barbara. I don't really know what are the notes in those perfumes, because I literally, like, when I left high school, I left all that nonsense. Now I just go by what smells nice for me. That's my vibe. If this smells like this is my personality when I'm serious, I'm taking it. If this smells like this is my personality when I'm play, I'm taking it. So I wear 2 perfumes currently that I will also add on the screen. And the one is from Zara. Both of them are from Zara. Zara has an array of perfumes, all different kinds of scents. And where is my brush? All different kinds of scents and flavors. And I think in comparison to your designer perfumes, those perfumes retail for a very affordable price. So the one which is called Gourmand Addict, I got off of Sneem Hlongo's channel, because she always spoke about it, and she was like, listen, this perfume is the truth. This perfume is the future. And that's the one that I wear for play every day, Barbara. And that one's called Gourmand Addict. I think you get like 90 milliliters for 299 Rand, which doesn't sound like a lot, but I still have that perfume. It's not in my room. I think it's in my car. I still have that perfume, and that perfume I bought last year, February, just before I went to Vega, because yeah, it was very deep. So when I was going to Vega, I know because I picked the branch that was in Bryanston, and also that was partly I guess in hindsight, it was a very strategic decision because that area is just full of so many agencies. That Randburg area is where most of the YouTube events happen as well. So it was very easy for me to like go to YouTube events in between my classes and then still be able to go back to campus because we were so close to Sandton City. And all the other agencies. But also because of that, whenever we had like guest lecturers and brands visiting our school, it would always be like the really cool brands because all the really cool brands are in Joburg. So yeah, the only problem with that is growing as a girl who grew up in Pretoria, there were certain like ideas that I had of what children in Sandton specifically are like. In my head, I'm like, I'm going to be going to school with girls that have Gucci tote bags and Louis Vuitton bags and all this designer stuff, and everyone's wearing like cotton on clothes. And listen, it's just money, money, money everywhere because, you know, in my head, everyone in Sandton is a rich kid. So I didn't want to feel pressure when I got to school to like try and keep up with the Joneses and like compete with Banabadi Louis Vuitton. Guys, I don't have Louis Vuitton. I don't have the money for Louis Vuitton. I don't know if I'll ever have the money. I will have the money. In Jesus' name. But also like, I don't know if that's something that I would do, like going to a store and buy designer. I could see if that's my vibe. Something's wrong with my makeup, but we're gonna act like we don't see it. So I did very small things that I could control, like just up my toiletries and get really good perfumes that will last me well, so that as long as I smell good and I feel good about myself, I know that Louis Vuitton or no Louis Vuitton, I'm still gonna be the same Barbara and I'll still be able to show up in my fullness, which I was able to do. And I was able to build fabulous relationships with all those Louis Vuitton kids, and it was just amazing. It was great. So yes, get yourself a really good perfume, makes you really confident and leaves a very good lasting impression on people that you meet. The third thing is reading. I know, all these tips that I'm giving are very like weird. It's giving like, are you serious right now? I'm so serious right now. Reading. I think another thing that made me very self-conscious growing up was the fact that I didn't really feel like when I speak, I sound smart. Like it was just a thing for me. Like I'm always like, do I even know what I'm talking about? Like, do I even know what I'm saying? And I think that's why I procrastinated with starting my podcast for such a long time, because I didn't feel like I knew enough and I didn't feel like my opinion was well put together or well thought out and stuff like that. So in reading, I was able to, and the thing with me is like, I love to read biographies. So most of the time I'm reading like stories about other people, how they overcame different challenges and stuff in their lives. If I watch TV, I'll usually watch a documentary about someone who's super successful now and great to look up to, but back in the day, they had their own like story of coming up and struggles and all that kinds of stuff. Like I just love to learn from people. And I think in seeing how they navigate the things that I also deal with and am still trying to figure out how to navigate, like anxiety when it's time for you to perform and all that kind of stuff, nervousness, preparing, that stuff. It just helped me. It just helped me in my journey. And I think reading also increases your vocabulary. You know all the things they taught us about reading in high school, guys. Reading increases your vocabulary. You're able to express yourself more. It gives language sometimes to the things that I am feeling and didn't necessarily know how to I don't want to say enunciate. That's not the right word. Do you know how I know that's not the right word? Because I read. But I don't know what the right word is. So maybe I'm not reading enough. The fourth underrated thing that I do to help me with my self-consciousness, as well as my self-confidence, is to make decisions. Like, make decisions, be firm in your decisions, and be firm with the boundaries that you set with people. I think being able to say no when you're uncomfortable, being able to decline invitations when you don't want to go places is such a empowering thing, because not only do you not subject yourself to being in spaces that you don't want to be in, but people also learn how to navigate around you. Like, people learn how to treat you, people learn how to speak to you, and it's literally just about setting a standard for yourself privately, and then when you go outside, to interact with people because you know your standard. You don't allow people who treat you below that standard in your vicinity, and make it a known thing to say, listen, if you're not going to change, we just can't be friends. It's just not going to work. I'm not saying be a stubborn, difficult person, because I think there is a fine line between being a difficult person and being a firm person and assertive in your beliefs and your convictions. Maybe we can call it convictions. So an example that I can give you is I really am very intentional about making friends, right? I'm very careful with the people that I choose to befriend, because I understand that if someone is my friend, the likelihood of me asking them a couple of opinions and for advice on certain things is very high, which means that if you're my friend, I value your opinion, and if you say something's not good for me, I'm going to think extra hard before I do that actual thing, because my friend, someone who I know loves, cares for me, and prays for me, says they don't think it's a good idea. But even in that, I had an instance where this person, I have a friend who is very fabulous friend, one of my favorite people in the whole wide world. But very big but, very strong but, is I have a very big phobia of dogs. I'm very afraid of dogs, guys. And a long story short is I grew up in Centurion. And for those of you that don't know where Centurion is, Centurion was previously known as Hendrik Verwoerd Stad. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so the neighborhoods in Centurion have always been very, I don't want to say politically charged, but there just have always been a very distinct line between the Afrikaans people and the non-Afrikaans people. And that literally just, I think maybe just comes from the history of the area that we stay in, but also just the way the schools were done. Even in my high school, when I was in high school, it was still a word school. Now it's a high school, but back in the day it was a word school. And in word school, I remember it was a double medium. So we were Afrikaans, they were Afrikaans kids, who got wiskunde and natuurwetenskappe and all that kinds of stuff. And then there was us who had maths and natural sciences. And what they did was they separated us. So even though we were all grade 8s and we were all learning the same thing, the Afrikaans kids went to school or had a separate class from the English kids, and so we'd only see each other at break. But obviously what naturally would happen is, because all the Afrikaans kids are in one class, they make friends with everyone in their class, because you're most likely to be friends with your classmates. And then when break time comes and we step outside, there's almost like a segregation of the Afrikaans kids and the non-Afrikaans kids. So they would all sit together. Guys, my school was so funny. We had different areas in the school, and I remember there was an area called Santon in our school. And Santon was literally the place in the school with the greenest grass and the nicest shade in Klabeni. But obviously, there was only a particular demographic that hung out in Santon. And so, yeah, you can just fill in the blanks and make up the connotations as per your stereotypical, knowledge. We've all learned about stereotypes in life orientation. I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is, that was just to give you an idea of what our schools even looked like in Centurion. And then beyond that, there were English schools, but there were also Afrikaans schools. So we had Swartkop, Hoërskool Centurion, Eldorraine. There were a lot of Afrikaans and English schools. So there was always the Afrikaans and the English, the Afrikaans and this is Centurion forever. But something very interesting that used to happen when we would walk home from school every day is there were certain streets that we knew to avoid because these were the Afrikaans neighborhoods. And sometimes as a black child walking through those neighborhoods, and maybe this is main character syndrome to say as a black child, but I'm a black child, so in my head, it's as a black child, they would let out their dogs on us. So we would be walking home from school to home, and if we walked through the wrong neighborhood, then someone would like open their gates and literally just stand there and watch the dogs charge at us. I remember this one time I was walking with my friends. It was me, Simpiu, and Kutrano, and we were walking home. And I literally tell the story all the time because it's so funny, but it's not funny. And it was a Thursday, which is Dustbin Day in Centurion. And literally as we're walking home, someone lets their dogs out on us as usual. And one of my friends tried to jump into the dustbin. When I tell you, we were traumatized because this wasn't the first time that it happened. It was like a usual occurrence in like the streets when you're walking home. You just know, like, don't go through that street or else. And so obviously in my adulthood, that's still something I'm navigating where I have trauma when it comes to dogs, especially big dogs, because whenever I see a dog, I associate it with it's being let out to attack me. So, girl, I'm trying to speak and do my eyebrows at the same time, but it's giving recipe for disaster. So fast forward to my adulthood, there's certain things that I'm still like healing from. And this has nothing to do with the people, because I think the people aspect was easy to like just deal with and navigate. But like the things that trigger me, like dogs, guys, I can't tell you, I'm afraid of a dog. Like, don't do it. Just don't do it. Like, I will not come to your house. Don't invite me for dinner at your house if you're not gonna like put the dog away. Like, put the dog in its bedroom and close the bedroom. It doesn't matter whether it's an Afrikaans household that I'm going to dinner at or a Swati household that I'm going to dinner at. Just don't let your dog in. It's either you leave those dogs outside or like miss me, like draw me. And so with one friend in particular, I explained to her my fear with dogs, because we had like a gathering at her house once and her dogs were just being dogs. And I guess like they're friendly for licking you and like climbing and jumping on you. It means they love you. That's what they say. That's what dog owners say. If the dog climbs on you and licks you, it loves you. For me, it's giving appetizing, lick, appetizing. So I panic quite a bit. And I remember everyone was laughing and couldn't understand why I was so panicked, because the dog is literally harmless and it just wants to play with me. And then I explained to them my upbringing. I explained to them why I'm afraid of dogs and the trauma that came with dogs. And yes, I should probably go for some sort of like trauma counseling and go to like a hug a dog place to heal from my fears of dogs. But I don't want to, because I'm not ready. I'm not ready yet. Leave me alone. I don't want to. And until I come to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm ready to like heal from my trauma with dogs. And I mean, I've had dogs, but they also weren't real dogs. I've had like a Maltese puppy before. So if it's like a Chihuahua or like a little Maltese puppy, like I can do that. But the really big ho-ho dogs, I can't with the ho-ho dogs. I really can't. And so then they understood, oh, okay, it makes sense now why you are afraid. And we had to like start unpacking that, and we had like a mini conversation about it. And so my friend put away their dogs, but then the next time we went to that person's house for a gathering, the dogs were out, and I kept like screaming and jumping on couches, jumping on tables, because I was so panicked every time a dog would like climb on me and stuff like that. And they just never put the dog away. So I made it very clear with the friend to say, listen, I love you as my friend. I respect you, and I respect the relationship that you have with your dogs and how much they mean to you. But if you're not willing to put the dogs outside or like put the dogs in another room when I come over, just don't invite me. Like, it's okay. I'm not even going to take it personally. Whenever you have parties, don't call me. I don't want to come, because I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to be in that environment with the dogs. And I think in just putting your foot down in situations like that and asserting yourself also just helps people, again, to know how to treat you, but also asserts you in the things that you want. Because at the end of the day, everyone has different preferences and proclivities. And if you don't respect them for yourself, no one is going to respect them for you. And if people keep on walking all over you and making you feel like your opinions and preferences don't matter or are insignificant or are too big because you're a drama queen, then maybe those are not your people, and you just need to move on, because that thing will damage your confidence and your ability to trust yourself. And the last thing that I use to help me navigate or eradicate self-consciousness is exercise. And not exercise because it makes your body look a certain way, but exercise because, I can't explain it and I can't really properly quantify it, but exercising has kind of helped me to have a better relationship with my body. I think when you exercise, a big part, or at least at the gym that I go to, a big thing that my instructors will always hone in on is you need to listen to your body. You need to be super conscious of what your body is saying, how far you can push it, so that you're not being unkind to your body and you're not pushing yourself beyond your limits. I mean, yes, there's an element of push yourself beyond your limits, but not beyond the limit of beyond. Do you know what I mean? And I think through that, I've learned to appreciate my body and appreciate what it can do, appreciate what it does for me, and just overall boost my self-esteem, because I don't know, it's so crazy because my body didn't instantly change when I went to the gym. I don't even think there's been much change to my body ever since I've been going to the gym, except my arms. Girl, my arms look ooh, look at that. I've got strong arms now. I love it. I think I'm ready to cook bap. That's how I feel. I feel like I'm ready to cook bap for 10 people. That's how strong my arms feel. So it's given me confidence in my ability, and not just from a vanity point of view, but just because I'm proud of myself for being strong. I love what my body can do for me. And what I noticed is throughout all the months that I was looking at the mirror, getting ready in the morning, because I've got this big mirror on my basin, and so when I'm getting ready in the morning, I use this mirror, but I can see my full body in the mirror when I'm getting ready. So obviously, because I'm naked, it's I can see me, and not much has changed, but I'm appreciative of it, and I'm proud of my body because this body does a lot for me. This body carries me through a lot, and it just is my everything, because without it, I would actually not be able to exist, because I can't just be a soul without a body. So I low-key need my body. Yeah. But I think there are also other things that contribute to stuff like that, because I also just started wearing clothes that were my size and not my ideal size. I think a lot of times, with girls especially, we're very in denial about the changes in our body. So when you buy a jean, you'll never buy a size 8 because now you're a size 8. When are you going, you buy a size 6 because you are convinced that, no, man, I'm going to snap back. Just give me some time. Very soon, I'm going to snap back into my original size. But we all know that we never actually snap back into our original size. And that's okay, because we are growing up. And as we grow up, our bodies will change, and certain aspects of ourselves will not look like how we looked when we were 12 or when we were 18 or when we were 16 in high school, which is okay and is a normal part. It's supposed to happen. So a big part in the accepting yourself part of confidence also just comes in your body, how you treat it, the things that you eat. Because there's certain things that I eat that will make me feel very sluggish and I'll feel really bad about myself. But there are other things that I'll eat, like a salad, guys. There's nothing I love like salad. And not because it's a salad and salads are for slenders or whatever stereotype you've got from media. But a salad because it's refreshing. I don't know. The other day, so at my church, we always have these little gatherings called dinner parties, right? And how a dinner party works, it's always in a bring and share style. And so basically, you bring whatever you want to bring enough for 4 people, and then everyone brings enough for 4 people, and we share. So someone will bring lasagna, someone will bring pizza, someone will bring biryani, someone will bring, no one has ever brought mohodu. Maybe I should be the first person to bring mohodu. But, I'll bring chakalaka that I made myself, or stuff like that, sides and salads, and we all agree ahead of time what we're going to bring. So when you do get to the dinner party, on your plate, you'll find it's a piece of KFC with a slice of pizza and a bit of lasagna with some what salad. So it's a lot of messy stuff. And then at the very end of it, after I finish eating my food, I'll always go, because the garden salad is always the last thing that's just chilling on the table like this. Get a whole bunch of salad on my plate, go back for seconds and sit down and eat. And they laughed at me when they asked me like, why do you do that? I'm like, guys, I can't explain it to you, but I feel like salad cleanses me. Like when I eat a salad, it literally feels like my insides are being scrubbed clean. So at the end of like eating a whole gemors of stuff, because I don't want to get sick, guys, there's nothing. Does anyone know what challah is in English? If you know what challah is in English, please let us know, because I actually don't know what it is to have challah in English. But in my language, there's a thing called challah, which is basically a sickness that you get as a result of having an excessive amount of junk food or an excessive amount of sugar. So like your throat will feel some type of way, and then you're just sick, man. You either vomit, I know some people vomit, or you're just sick. And I don't ever want to feel like that again, because it was such a traumatizing part of my childhood. So after I eat a whole lot of nonsense, I'll always eat salad, because there's like an element in the lettuce of the salad. It's called roughage. Let me teach you guys. It's called roughage, right? And what roughage does, if you eat a certain amount of roughage, it literally will cause like your stomach to rid itself of any toxins. So I mean, yes, obviously maybe like the next morning I'll have like an excessive amount of like feces. But it's good. It's good because I know like all the nonsense that I ate is out now. Well, not the nonsense, but like the toxins that would force me to have challah and then make me throw up and get sick. I once had a really bad experience once. We were at a hotel in like 2016, somewhere in high school. And I ate quite a bit of food. That night, God, I spent the whole night throwing up. My mom and I were sitting in the bathroom throwing up. I remember my dad would say like, and we were sitting in the hotel room like throwing up, and I had diarrhea, but I'm throwing up, and this happened for like 2 to 3 days. After that whole experience, it changed my life. So I'll never eat an excessive amount of junk food or an excessive amount of takeaways without eating a salad to force myself to then have like induce a almost diarrhea to clean my insides, because very scary. Very, very scary. Girl, I just decided to finish my makeup off camera. And in the last step, I went in with my lasting... okay. I forgot. This is how the YouTubers do it. Christine taught me so well. How could I forget? In the last step, I went in with my fixing spray, and yeah, that's pretty much it for my makeup look. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you had a chill time hanging out with me today, and that you could take a little bit of something out of it. I'm still trying to learn how to master the art of doing my makeup while chatting to someone and still doing a good job. So yeah, bear with me. The first couple of get ready with me videos might be messy, but you know what? One day we're gonna get there, and when we get there, it's gonna be glorious. See you next time.